In my last video, I pointed out that Paul seems to have no interest in meeting with those who knew the historical Jesus. He seems to have no interest in learning about Jesus' life, his ministry, and in particular his message. Well, I'm expecting some feedback from Bible reading Christians pointing out chapter 2 in Galatians, so I thought I would talk about chapter 2. It starts off like this. Then, after 14 years, I went up again to Jerusalem. So, 14 years. I think that just proves my point. Paul was not interested in making a good relationship with those who knew Jesus when he was alive. But anyway, we go on. I presented to them the gospel that I preach among the Gentiles. Okay, so he talked about what he was preaching. And what did they think of it? As for those who were held in high esteem, they added nothing to my message. Well, that's weird, isn't it? You would have thought they would have added Jesus' sayings, they would have added his parables, they would have added knowledge about his miracles. They added nothing? Or Paul was open to nothing? Well, either way round, that's strange. Now, I've missed a bit out in the middle. As for those who are held in high esteem, whatever they were makes no difference to me. God does not show favouritism. They added nothing to my message. Can you see how he's putting down the apostles there? He doesn't seem to show much respect to those who knew Jesus most closely. Very odd, I think that is, very odd. Anyway, it all ended happily ever after for Paul. They agreed that he and Barnabas, should go to the Gentiles and they to the circumcised, to the Jews. So they were happy with him to go off and preach his version of Christianity to those outside Judaism. What sort of version of Christianity were they preaching to Jews? Now, Paul, of course, doesn't actually tell us. He finishes that bit. All they asked was that we should continue to remember the poor, the very thing I had been eager to do all along. Right. Now that's interesting, because in my last video I pointed out the difference between Paul's theology, Paul's message, and the historical Jesus's. Jesus talks about helping others, about looking after the poor. And that's really not a particularly important part of Paul's message. But here we've got the other apostles telling him that he should be focusing on the poor, not forgetting them. Now, we've only got Paul's version of this. We've got no idea what Peter and the rest thought of Paul, or what they thought of his message, or what they wanted to get across to him. But I just wonder if actually they were not happy with the totality of Paul's message. Maybe they thought he was missing out some crucial things. Maybe they thought he was missing out Jesus' emphasis on helping those who are less fortunate than ourselves.
It ain't necessarily so. It ain't necessarily so. The things that you're liable to read in the Bible is